So, welcome back to yet another I attempt sort of Jaguar out video. So, where are we up to? Last time we got the shocks off, we got everything cleaned up, got the worst of the rust off the springs, and I have treated all of the hardware, or the hardware that I'm reusing at least, with the wire, the wall, the buzzweld underseal, basically. So. I've bought all the new bits, everything's pretty much ready to go back on, so without further ado, let's start assembling and see if we can get this thing put back together. A liberal dousing of copper slip. So that has a flat side and a sort of slightly shaped side. The flat side is going to sit on the spring. This shaped side will go into here. I mean, if you try it the other way around, it just doesn't fit as well, so it's fairly obvious which way around it goes. This is the upper spring seat, brand new one. We've seen the state the old one. Quite a difference, eh? So well overdue for replacement. I'm going to grease this as well. God, I hope I don't run out of copper slip. And that, I mean, it's obvious which way around this goes because it's basically shaped to fit. So this is all assembled upside down at the moment, obviously, but that's essentially how it's all going to sit. Now, I don't know if you can see, but this lower bush fits into this slot here. One is made for it, so again, you can't go wrong. Yeah, there you go. There's a slot underneath the top hat. Then you have the upper smaller bush, which fits on like that. Then you have the washer. Now, this is concave, well, convex and concave, which, depending upon which way up you have it, you need to ensure that the concave side is facing up, like so. And the locking nuts. Okay. So now we need to tighten this whole assembly down. 17mm, and I'm just going to hold the top with an adjustable. This gets easier once the bolt gets further down the thread. At the moment it's a bit of a pain. And you just keep going. You're compressing the two bushes, just make sure they're seated correctly, and you keep going until you can't go any further, and then, well, I think that's when you have them seated correctly. Well, that's what I did on the other one anyway. And there we go, that's bottomed out now. So I can't tighten that easily anymore. Stopping there, so you can see that bush is compressed there, and the bottom one is compressed into its housing down here. So that should be far enough. Then we just need to reassemble everything. So top spring bushing, spring seat, whatever you call it, no idea. Then we have these two bits. So I have no idea what you call that. Space, well that's a spacer I guess. Anyway, that bit goes in there. So these are all greased up as you saw. That sits in there like so. And then again, just make sure you've got the orientation on this the right way. That pops in there, and then, oh god, I'm going to put it in just yet. The spring, so we're upside down here. Now, I got this wrong stupidly earlier. To make sure, if you don't remember, that you got the spring the right way up, this flat end of the spring is the bit that will face up, because that sits on the spacer. Okay, so remember this is upside down. So that is the top of the spring going down like that, sits in there. And then this part, which is rounded, is where the most ridiculous and overpriced piece of rubber in the world sits. So you can see it's got a slot there which fits into this bit here. So basically that will sit. Go on. That will sit like that, and that then, okay, let's turn it up. That will then sit in the spring seat, which is part of the control arm, essentially, like so. Now, in the Jaguar manual, in the workshop manual, it says to put this spring seat, this pigtail, actually onto the spring seat itself, and then put the spring in from there. My experience, and again, I'm an amateur, so I'm probably getting it completely wrong, trying to put the spring on top of this when that's already sat there, as it moves around and it's a nightmare. So what I did with the other one was I placed it onto the spring, and I've got some self-annealing rubber tape, which I'll wrap around there in a second to just hold it in place. And it just means that if I need to move the spring around to seat it correctly, this pigtail stays in place. Again, I have no idea if that's the right thing to do, but it worked for me. Right, there we go. So this is the tape. It's just a standard self-annealing rubber tape. I got it off Amazon for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 quid, can't even remember. It's cheap. It's a right bugger getting the backing off though, it really is. Sometimes it comes off really easily. Sometimes you spend half an hour trying to just peel it, it's just awkward. There we go, you can stretch it and it just sticks to itself. How long that'll last, I've got no idea, but I don't actually suppose it matters when you've got the weight of the whole suspension sat on here. It's not like it's actually going to go anywhere. And I was going to put one more in here. And as I say, that all this is doing is enabling me to move. Once I've got the spring onto the seat, I mean the chance of getting it in the right place first time, a remote in the extreme, it enables me to twist the whole assembly without this moving about all over the shop, because there's an obvious place you'll see on the spring seat. There's an obvious seat for this to slot into, and you've got to make sure you get the orientation correct. There we go. So again, that end is rounded. That's the end the pigtail goes onto. The flat end of the spring goes into the assembly at the top there. Right, so a tip on orientation. This top hat has a shallow or a flatter side and a taller side, so it sort of slopes. So the taller side, you've got 2 bolt holes here, that faces outwards. So get that orientated first, and then you can rotate the spring into the right position from there. So I've got to try and locate all of these studs, which is never easy. again, I've got the control arm down as low as it possibly go. Right, so 3 studs in. Rotate this. Where's the seat? I probably should check this before I put it in. Just trying to find the ridge that the spring sits in. Oh, it's here. Okay, completely different place to the other side. So actually, would you believe it, it's more or less in the right place. At the end of the spring, you can't, I don't think you can quite see it, it's behind the hub. That is located in about the right place. Oh, shit. So that was actually easier than the other side. Although these do have a tendency to come out. Now what I need to do, I'm going to get the jack. I'll jack up the control arm. Okay, so all I've done is just jacked up the wishbone, the control arm. So the spring is now seated correctly at the bottom, and as you can see, I wonder if I can zoom in. You can see there. Focusing, yeah, I think it is. There's a bolt there, and another bolt here, and there's a bolt at the back which you can't see. So what I'm going to do, they will locate it correctly, is I'm just going to get the bolts started by hand. So we've got one there. I think that's in. Okay, yeah, 5mm socket, and this one's actually gone in easier on this side, which concerns me a bit because I had hell's delight with the stud on the other side. I'm worried I've cross-threaded it now, but anyway. That's good for now. Right, I'm going in with the impact wrench set on 1 just to get these wound up. I'm not going to tighten them, but it's just easier, and I'll torque them later. One. I pity the people who do this with the Aframe on, because this is hard enough. Right, I'm going to torque those up later. Now, we need to jack up the control arm so that we can get the pin through for the through the bushing at the bottom of the shock absorber. No, a little bit more. So close. Someone knows an easy way of doing this, please let me know. Pain in the arse. Yes. Right. That is through. Okay, so that's now in. I'm going to put a washer and a nut on the other side. So So this is, oh, I did that last time, I've done that by mistake. This is 22. I've just got an adjustable spanner on the other side. So, as you can see there, so it sits up again at the end of the spring, butts up against that ridge. Focus against that ridge there. But that is the whole assembly in. So it still needs torquing, but that's the difficult bit done. So that's the bushes in. I use this stuff, Alpha Bond 101, which is like an epoxy sort of resin glue. This is the stuff that they recommend you use in the workshop manual. Now, I had read that a lot of people don't bother using it, but mine didn't need a press to press them in. They went in really easily by hand. Not sure if I should be worried about that or not, to be honest. I guess we'll find out. Hence the reason I did go with the adhesive, just to be absolutely sure. So now they're in. I'm just going to wait for them to dry. It takes, I believe, well, they say 30 minutes. I mean, that's gone off already. That's not going anywhere. So that's pretty good. So I should be able to reinstall it soon. So yeah, done hopefully. I just hope the fact that they pressed in so easily doesn't come back and bite me in the arse. Okay, so I've done the two top bolts up, the ones that I had all the trouble with when I was trying to get it off. So the one there and the one there, I've put thread locker on that one. I started doing that. I don't dare try and undo that again, so there's no thread locker on that one. Hopefully it doesn't bite me in the arse further down the line. So I hope it should be self-supporting now. We'll see when I drop the jack. Fingers crossed. And then I can get at the other bolts. Oh, look at that, beautiful. Right, now I can get in. I'm gonna get my inspection light. It's not recharged, but hopefully it'll give us enough time. So I'm just gonna hand tighten these in for now. I need to come back to them and put some thread lock in. I just want to get everything in the right place. Again, just need some persuasion. So what I'm doing now is just jacking up the side of the A-frame in order to install the A-frame bracket back on, because clearly the bracket itself holds the A-frame in place and you've got to get the A-frame up in order to install it. So yeah, that's what the jack's all about. So this is 19. This is 19 as well. I'll have to go for a deeper socket. Right, so 19, 19, 19, 17. Okay, now torque settings. 90mm bolt to body, 80 to 100 as well. So that's 80 to 100, 80 to 100, 80 to 100, and irritatingly 40 to 50. Right, got this set to 94. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, I need a bloody extension. Oh. I don't know if you can hear that. It's a chinook or something. Oh, fuck me. Okay, this is set to about 45. Oh yes, and we're in. So another little job that needs doing, which I've just done on one side, is to grease the union joints. So if I come back, this is the back of the hub assembly. So if you look up there, you can see the bushing. There we go, up there. So that's where the top of the spring assembly is sat. Come down, this is the bottom of the control arm here, and then this is the union joint going into the back of the hub. So, let's see if I can zoom in. This here is the grease nipple. You have to rotate the drive shaft, sorry, the half shaft, to reveal it, and it's probably going to be absolutely covered in cack. This one certainly was. And then you just need to attach a grease gun. You can see all the new grease that's coming out here. Just pump it in until it crackles and creaks, and you can see the new grease coming out. So this is on the passenger side, the back of the passenger side hub, so the union joint. That there, that is the grease nipple. So that's the rubber boot on there. Absolutely filthy. Very, very difficult to miss. So I'm going to get that cleaned up and then get the grease gun on there. And then we've got, this is at the diff end. So where are we? I've lost myself now. Right, it is there. That's a nipple in there. So again, absolutely filthy. So I'm going to get that cleaned up and get these two greased as well. Let's see if I can do this and pump the grease gun at the same time. You can hear that? It's crackling. Although, to be fair, I think that might be coming out my grease gun. Yeah, so it has worked. I don't know if you can see here, that's where the old grease is just being forced out through the joints. There was no rubber boot on this nipple, so I think it's just full of cack basically, and it is forcing it out through the, but we've got grease, there you go, you can see that, see it's moving. So that's the old grease coming out, new grease going in, but it's not the easiest. So There we go. Anyway, that's done, sorted. I'm going to do the other side now. There's 2 more on the other side. Okay, done. So another job sorted. A-frame back on, springs are in, car's actually back on the road. This is future me. I've been driving around in it. Everything is working, which is great. Nothing's fallen off, which was my biggest concern. And it's actually passed its MOT as well. So happy days. A couple of advisories on there, stuff that we're going to need to take a look at. But yeah, really pleased how it all worked, and delighted that I got to grease my nipples as well. So once again, if you've enjoyed what you're watching, please do give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Not sure what the next video is going to be. Haven't got around to that yet. It's probably going to be something along the lines of MOT advisories or something along that, something like that. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one. Take care.